Welcome to another episode of the Conscious Podcast. My name is Cerrillo and I am your host, as I have been for the past 140 or so episodes, and this is the last episode of the Conscious Podcast, which sounds a bit sad. You know, it's you never think these things will come to an end, but it's been a beautiful journey, and I want to wrap all that up in this conversation. Also explain kind of what's happened since the last episode, because it's been a hot minute since I've been on here and since I've been sharing and released an episode. I think the last one with Erin May Henry was October 2021. So it's been a few minutes. October, November, December, January. Yeah, 4 months, which is the longest period of time in the past 4 years since starting the podcast that I've had that big of a break. And yeah, there's been a lot that's happened. And I guess for me, back in October, there was a lot going on. September, October were some big months for me. And if you haven't already seen, I have a docuseries, a 3-part video series that I released explaining what happened, the emotions, why I was unmotivated, uninspired to do anything. More details in that. You can check that out in the show notes below, or on YouTube, or on my Instagram, all those places. And for me, I was not in a mind frame to release anything. I tried to put myself in the mind frame, but it just wasn't happening for me. And I didn't want to force things, and it didn't feel natural for me, which also threw me deeper into all my emotions and feels, because I was like, but I love this. I love being here. I love all of you. I love the support that I get from all of you, whether it's on Instagram, liking and sharing the posts, sending me DMs and saying how much these episodes impact your life and help you gain more awareness, sharing it on your stories for your friends. But then also, you know, the downloads and the listens. Like, there's just been so much support, and for me, it just kept, I was in that spiral. So for me, releasing anything just wasn't on my radar. I really need to take that time to connect back into me, because I did feel that big identity sort of loss in that rock bottom. So took myself off everything. Social media, wasn't posting as often, wasn't releasing any podcast episodes, took all the pressure off and this expectation of everything. I had my program that was still running, and I was like, the very little energy I have, I need to give to that. But also I need to go within and start working on a few things so that I can show up in the best way possible for myself and also everyone in everything that I do. It's not that I lost the why or the inspiration. I was just lacking that connection to self because of an event that had happened. And I want you to know that these things happen. And just like now the podcast is ending and a new one is coming from that, it's kind of like that next chapter for me. When this one comes to a close, which is bringing, you know, the sadness to it, it's also the excitement of what is the next chapter. So I am not running from podcasting. This isn't the end of my podcasting career. We are just rebranding, renaming, and rejigging the podcast as a whole. Something that feels a lot more aligned, a lot more channeled, and a lot more Carlo. So I'm super excited to announce all of that later on. But what's been happening since the last episode? Since October, I've moved into a new place. You've probably seen the new surroundings. I'm still setting up the studio space. There's going to be a nice bookshelf there, a nice neon sign there. I can't wait to show all of that and to put it out on YouTube and my other social channels as well. I've been a part of a new community. So as of November, Cold and Conscious, I was getting involved. I was going down to Geelong, taking part in the events every Saturday morning. And then I was like, you know what, Steve, the guy that founded it, I want to do this. I want to do this in closer to Melbourne. I want to facilitate these experiences. So every Sunday, 7 a.m. in Altona, Cold and Conscious, we do this beautiful connection piece. We then go into a meditation. We then do some deep transformational breath work. and then we all jump in the ice for some cold therapy and then enjoy some cacao afterwards. Everyone sits on the beach for like 2-3 hours. We all hang out. We all become really good friends, and that's been incredible. So I've been working on that, working with the team. We've been expanding. We're opening up Mildura soon, and then expanding to other parts, Mornington as well, but other parts of Australia, which is super exciting and has built back that spark again. New adventures, so going away, camping, hopefully doing a few more little trips for myself in that time, especially in this beautiful weather. New events coming up. So we have full moon parties on the full moon with sacred cacao, full moon ceremonies. So we're doing that as well. We're going deep with cacao, opening our hearts and dropping into ceremony. And then also the Align events are back. So more workshops, more online and also in-person events for people, which is just so exciting for me because I just want to get on stage, see people, meet people, but also share a lot of these tools, tips, and wisdom that I'm getting from all these other incredible people with me. I signed a book deal. So in last week of December, I got approached, had a good conversation with Dean Publishing, and we've signed on. So this year, you will be seeing me releasing a book, which has been in the plans and in the works and in my mind for about 3 years now. It's finally coming to fruition, and I can't wait for you to have this physical copy. I can't wait to have this physical copy. And that's going to be a journey in itself of 6 to 9 months. So I'm going to document that as well. I created a docuseries, like a documentary of my processes. And yes, I filmed it myself and with a small crew and a small team, but I have always wanted to do that. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait for someone to reach out and do it for me. I'm just going to do it myself. I want to share that experience with everyone. And it really goes into a raw, vulnerable story of the whole process. So one was filmed in like week 2. 4 weeks later, we filmed again for part 2. So the rock bottom, the healing, all the modalities of finding myself and connecting back to myself again. And then the breakthrough. The consistency of those things in the healing to then get me to that breakthrough moment and those reminders for everyone else that's going through that rock bottom. So again, if you haven't checked that out, link will be in the show notes below. New programs as well. So the Conscious Blueprint is back, and there'll be 4 of these this year. Applications are open for February the 7th is the next program. So they're open. Link will be below. We had 15 people come through before last program, and now we've got 6 mentors joining me, and it keeps growing and growing, and being able to share something that transforms so many lives and see them now growing and thriving is just such a special feeling, and I love hosting it. We also have a new program called The Integrated Man coming out in February as well. A new team of guest speakers and mentors as well through that program, which I am so excited about. And also some other things that will be online, accessible for everyone. Also an app. I am developing an app, a wellness and mindfulness app, which will have a lot of meditations, a lot of breath work, a lot of movement sort of stuff. A very holistic wellness app where we'll have our own community. We'll be running live events on that app, but also there'll be notifications. I'll send you an affirmation every day. When the new podcast will be up, there'll be a podcast or audio experience within the app as well that you can only get within the app. Just a beautiful wellness community, something I've always wanted to create. So putting all that together, we're also looking for team members to join us in all of these projects. So if you would like an internship or would like to apply and see what roles we have available, contact me below. My email will be there. Send me a DM on Instagram and I can share with you all the roles that we have. But we're looking to build a kick-ass team so that we can make all these projects thrive. And then I think on top of that, it's like new products. I've got a brand I'm releasing, whether in February or March, called Grateful Collection. A lot of merch, wristbands, and I Am Worthy wristband. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to do a giveaway on here. So if you take a screenshot of this wherever you're listening to it and you put it on your story, you tag myself, one lucky person over the next week will receive an I Am Worthy band. So go do that. Take a screenshot right now. Put it up. I would appreciate that because, we love sharing the people that are giving us so much value. And I hope that this is giving you value. So many things happening. And then I guess for me, it's also just, for me, I was like, I don't want to stop the podcast. The podcast is going to be here. This is a big part of my life. I love sharing. I love talking. I actually want to do this more. I would love my own show where it's a live show, where it's an Instagram show, where it's a YouTube show, where it's talk back, it's guests, it's all of this on all the topics that I love too. So mindfulness, wellness, consciousness, alignment, spiritual, body, soul, all of the healing, all of the things. And I guess that's what I've loved so much about the podcast and all the incredible guests that have been a part of it. And now it's like the evolvement of that. So from wanting a show, we have now created the next evolution of the Conscious Podcast. And that is the Carlos Cerrillo Show. Now, I was so stuck on a name of like, what's the right words for all of this? And I was like, you know what? It could be all the words. The Inspired Podcast, the Aligned Podcast, the Conscious Podcast. And I was like, you know what? It's the Carlos Cerrillo Show, and we are going to bring on people from all walks of life to be sharing their incredible stories, but also their tools, tips, and wisdom to help you live your best life, but also to challenge the narrative, to give you that support that you're looking for, and to ask those hard questions. I want answers. How did someone go from where they are to where they are now, from where they were to where they are now? What are these things that we can use to optimize our life? Whether it's a tool, whether it's a process, whether it's something we can do, relationships, connection, opening our heart, all of those things. And I cannot wait. Like the first episode will be Dr. John Demartini. And then the guest list that I've got from there is incredible. And I'm just so excited. It gets me super pumped. And then on top of that, we will be doing a live podcast experience with a panel of guests where you can ask questions, throw topics at us. It'll be a 4-hour live event in Melbourne. So make sure you're following me and you'll get updates for all of those events and app releases and all those types of things. But also the Carlos Cerrillo Show will be running through my personal page. So there won't be a separate page, the Conscious Podcast. That will stay as it is. So if you need to go back and look at a reel or get a piece of wisdom, it will still be there. But the Carlos Cerrillo Show will be funneling through or running through my personal channel. More reels, more videos, more YouTube, more wisdom, more goodness. And I am so damn excited to share all of that with you. And you know, looking back on the past, 140 episodes of the Conscious Podcast, those episodes are still incredible. To see that there's still like 2,000 downloads every week, even though I've done nothing since October, shows how powerful these conversations are. But I can't wait because now with this new evolvement, I've got so much to share. I've evolved so much, but also all the guests that I'm going to bring back on and also the new ones have evolved so much too, just like you have as well. And I'm so grateful to have all of you here, for you to be listening to this, but also to have you part of that last chapter of my life and now coming with me into this new chapter. Just as I'm excited to be part of your chapter, I'm so grateful that you've listened to this episode, but if you've listened to any of the other ones before, man, like my heart is just so warm knowing that you've gone back and listened to some, whether it's one or whether it's all 140. There's some people that message me and said they have. That's just incredible. I do what I love and I love what I do. And that's what drives me to do all of these things. If one person listened, incredible. The fact that even just one and more people listen is such just a really nice feeling. And that's why I'm committed to bringing you more goodness and to actually bringing you content that helps you in a positive way and leaves you better than what you were before listening to an episode. So I am so excited to share all of this newness, the evolvement of the podcast into the Carlos Cerrillo Show. There is so many epic interviews coming up and so much I want to share with you, and then so much that's going to come from all of this stuff, like the app, the events, all of these things, the community coming together. So Make sure you are following my channel, Carlo_Cerrillo on Instagram. And there'll be links in the show notes to everything: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever other apps come out, because I'm going to be creating more and sharing more as well. And I'd love for you to be part of this. So again, screenshot this, share it on your page for a chance to win an I Am Worthy bracelet, but also share it on there so that, I want to see how excited you are. Even if it's not sharing it, come to my DMs and say, I am super excited. You know how good that feeling is when I say, go to my DM and say hello, say how much you got from this episode. That actually shows me that you're listening, that you're putting these things into place. So reach out to me, say hello, and when you hear this podcast next through this channel, it will be the Carlo Cerrillo Show. Thank you so much for being part of the Conscious Podcast. It will always have a special place in my heart. And thank you for being with me through this journey. And in advance, I'm grateful for you supporting me into the next step of my life, as I am here supporting you in the next step of your life. So take care, everyone. I'm excited to share all the new things with you and to support you into the future. Have an amazing day. I can't wait to connect with you soon. Take care, everyone. Peace.